can't remember a single time that I was prevented from doing what I wanted because I was a female, either on the rock or in the mountains. Annie Whitehouse. The sport of rock climbing began with mountaineering. In 1786, a group of men made the first ascent hiking up Mont Blanc in Western Europe. Traditional roles of women in history provide perspective as to why rock climbing has always been a male-dominated sport. Women were socialized not to take risks. They were expected to have babies, cook, clean, sew, care for their husband, and wear constricting dresses while doing it. Women were never expected to be independent or go on adventures that could put them in danger. In fact, the Victorian ideal was that physical activity for women was viewed negatively and ultimately as perceived as having a harmful effect on the all-important role of motherhood, as stated by Carla Henderson in both Games and Gaps. It wasn't until 1799, 13 years later after the ascent up Mont Blanc, that a woman is reported climbing. Gradually thereafter, a few women were documented as mountaineers. In 1808, an 18-year-old woman hiked up Mont Blanc. In 1880, an American woman named Meta Brevoort ditched her dress and traded it for a more suitable pair of trousers. The Ladies Alpine Club was formed in 1907, but it wasn't until actually 1920 when an all-female mountaineering team was formed. "32 years later, two women made the first women-only ascent rock climbing up Devil's Tower. Then Lynn Hill makes her mark for women climbers in 1979 and kept raising the bar. She was the first person, not just woman, but person, to free climb the nose of El Cap. Then in 1994, she free climbed it in one day. That had never been done before by anyone. More currently, Lisa Rands and Angie Payne have scaled the most difficult boulder problems ever climbed by women. "19-year-old Sasha DeJulian is the reigning U.S. national champion for females and is the #1 world-ranking female outdoor sport climber." Female rock climbers have increasingly grown in numbers since the 1980s. They are leading routes, making all-female ascents of mountains, and proving that they have what it takes. There is debate in the climbing community about whether or not women are setting enough new climbing routes or only focusing on climbing the present routes. Also, whether or not women will be able to climb boulder problems at the men's highest achieved level of difficulty. Bouldering does require a greater deal of strength and strain on the upper body that traditional climbing does, and is very challenging for the majority of women. My theory is that the increase of female climbers in more recent history is due to the new appreciation of the female who's independent and athletic. Rock climbing and mountaineering was predominantly a male sport and still is, but the female participants are growing. It wasn't until 1974 that women were allowed into British alpine clubs. That's only 38 years ago. The 19th century women worked outside of the home, fought for equality, and in turn had more freedoms to experience outdoor leisure, such as rock climbing. It's hard enough worrying about staying on a rock, let alone trying to do it in a skirt with your boobs pushed up. There was and is an issue of the female apologetic. Heterosexual and homosexual female climbers who dress in an overtly feminine way and attribute their great skill to luck, in order to avoid being labeled as deviant. So I decided to go rock climbing. This sport is hazardous as well as mentally and physically demanding. Oh, and if you want to be an avid climber, you better be an adrenaline junkie because you really have to be able to push your limits. I went to the climbing gym with my brother and his girlfriend Bridget. As anticipated, Bridget and I were the only two girls there. I did feel out of place, but I gained more confidence as I practiced boulder problems. Wes and Bridget encouraged me to be confident and just have fun. not imagine trying to do this in a corset and a puffy dress. I'm so grateful that I can wear these stretchy pants. I am a liberal feminist, and women and men have equal opportunity and rights to be a rock climber, and that's the way it should be. And I'm sure God no one judged me for being unladylike, because I really was sweating and I scraped up my hands quite a bit. I really wanted to climb outside too, so we went back home to San Luis Obispo to visit family and take my first stab at outdoor climbing. I was super nervous until I started up my first route. I started on a 5.4, which isn't too hard, and I definitely felt as though I'd underestimated myself. I really was able to just charge up that thing. I conquered my fear of heights pretty quickly. Then I climbed a 5.6 called Kermit's Crack. It was a longer climb and definitely more challenging than the 5.4, but I pushed myself up to keep going and reach the top. I did get frustrated and a bit scared at times when I felt stuck, but I would figure out what my next move should be, and then I was really proud of myself. Surprisingly, it was a great stress reliever. I was so concentrated on the climb that my everyday stresses of homework, school, work, bills, they never crossed my mind. I finished that climb with no falls on my first try. It was awesome. Women, myself included, gain confidence by rock climbing. We are strong, athletic, and competitive, and do not have to conform to traditional roles of being a woman. Rock climbing is not a totally mainstream sport yet, so I don't think it puts as much pressure on women to emphasize their sexuality. I didn't really notice very many photos of female climbers that scream sex, but I did notice that articles in magazines do tend to emphasize their roles as like a mother, wife, or girlfriend. So why hadn't I tried this yet? I had intrapersonal, and structural constraints holding me back. I needed a climbing partner, more confidence that I could actually do the climb, and as always, I need more time and money. Whether you're a man or a woman, rock climbing is definitely worth trying at least once. I think you'll surprise yourself with what you're able to accomplish just as I did. I can see how men would be more naturally inclined to try the sport because it does take a lot of upper body strength that men are more biologically apt to have. I learned that women today are excelling at traditional climbing, but not as many women are excelling as bouldering. So why haven't women made more contributions to bouldering? My theory, biologically, men have much more natural upper body strength to pull themselves up a rock, whereas traditional climbing definitely utilizes leg strength more. In the words of the world-famous female rock climber Lynn Hill, men or women, you have to have the mental characteristics, the ability to concentrate, the focus, and flexibility, where women have the advantage to strength and weight ratio. But it does depend on raw power. Yes, I would definitely try rock climbing again. Just when I thought I should give up, I would always make another move that put me closer and closer to the top of the climb. And when I finally made it, I felt a natural high that I've never experienced before, and it was so incredible. I've gained so much respect for both women and